Hello everyone, Mimikins here. Today's video I will be looking at the switch axe in the Monster Hunter Rise demo. Switch axe has always looked very stylish and the combo satisfying to use. However, in previous games it lacked in mobility and defense when going up against monsters. Some attacks, unless you had a good opening, felt unsafe to use as it was difficult to cancel animations and could prove problematic on fast, hard-hitting monsters. In Rise, Switch Axe has undergone some exciting, subtle, yet game-changing additions, which those who mained this weapon will be happy about, and new players will be wondering why they didn't check out the Switch Axe sooner. Axe mode now also benefits from the files and provides its own buff called maximum potency, which encourages players to switch between the different forms of the Switch Axe. In previous games, Axe felt more like cooldown mode, and the sword was the main focus. So it's nice to see players also being rewarded for utilising both aspects of the weapon. Let's start off with Axe mode. The Wild Swing combo, which is activated by repeatedly pressing A, this is probably my favourite change because I love the visceral feel of this combo and really excited that I'll get to use it more often. It has seen quite a few tweaks. Firstly, you can now hop out of this combo and even use the wire bug to move out of the way, so it's completely safe to use. Secondly, the two finisher moves of this combo have been altered. The heavy slam at the end of the combo, activated by pressing X, now gives you a buff called maximum potency, which you can see next to the switch axe gauge. This will continuously regenerate your meter while in axe mode, while also providing a buff for the amp state, which changes colour to orange when it's in effect. This buff activates even if you miss the monster. They have removed the forced morph attack after the Wild Swing roundhouse finisher as well. You can still switch, but you'll need to press ZR twice instead of once. It was really annoying in World when you're in axe mode because of low sword gauge and did the Wild Swing roundhouse finisher only to find your character is forced to do the reload animation because the sword was too low, leaving your character completely exposed to any incoming monster attacks and you felt utterly helpless. These changes are really simple yet add huge quality of life to the Switch Axe users, and I'm sure many players will be happy about them, especially those who've been smacked around while reloading. You also have the overhead slash combo by pressing X, the rising slash by pressing X and A, and the small gap closer forward slash by pressing X and the direction on the stick. Let's morph into sword mode, and this is just so easy, you don't need any combo, just press ZR and a direction and your character will do an attack as well as seamlessly change into the other mode. This is really useful for many reasons. You can quickly switch to axe mode for extra mobility, or sword mode if you see an opportunity to get an element discharge. The sword combos feel familiar. The overhead slash combo, the double slash with Heavensward Flurry, element discharge, once you've filled up the amp state gauge, you can also cling onto the monster to perform zero-sum discharge, which now feels like you have super armor on until the explosion. If you've played World, I would liken this to wearing a rocksteady mantle while performing it. You can also cancel it by limiting your X button smash in the last second. This lets you greatly shorten the finisher animation and enables you to perform another zero-sum discharge as soon as you land. The amp state, and I'm talking about the outline around the switch axe gauge which gives you access to files on both the sword and now also the axe, takes longer to fill up by regular attacks. Although using Heavensward Flurry and the finisher on element discharge seems to add a considerable amount. Perhaps this is Capcom's way of rewarding players that utilise abilities which have longer animations. Sometimes it can be hard to get the final hit of Heavensward Flurry due to the monster moving. While this isn't an issue on easier monsters, fast moving ones that require you to evade often, and can be slow to build up the amp state meter. I hope Rise will have skills such as power prolonger and focus to help maintain files for longer. Rise also has the improved fade slash, which we saw added in Iceborne. This can be used to gain some distance while dealing damage. You can press ZR and back on the stick, your character will switch form and move backwards. Both Silkbind abilities only cost 1 wire bug to use, meaning they can be used more freely compared with other weapons that require 2 for some moves. First up we have the Invincible Gambit, which you activate by pressing ZL and X. This moves your character forward in a spinning attack towards the monster. What's special about this attack is that you are immune to flinching or being knocked down while performing it. I found this attack really useful, particularly as an opener, as it allows you to glide through the monster's roar while dealing some nice damage. The second Silkbind attack, Switch Charger, used by pressing ZL and A, uses a wire bug to launch you forward and regenerates your switch gauge. In addition, the switch gauge won't decrease for a short period of time. This is extremely useful for avoiding attacks or just to gain some distance on the monster to use a consumable or sharpen your weapon. Switch axe eats sharpness bar like crazy, and this can affect your combos as your weapon will bounce off the monster, interrupting it. Overall, Switch Axe has seen some good changes. I like that Axe mode is more useful and the Wild Swing combo has been improved, so it's more worthwhile to do. Amp's state feels like it takes much longer to build up and maintain compared with World, and I hope they add skills like Focus and Power Prolonger to make it easier to get to the Amp state, so I can get my extra hits on both my sword and axe more often. While I didn't have issues with this on easier monsters, but on faster monsters it became quite a frustrating experience because by the time I'd filled the bar, the monster decided to change zone. Then chasing the monster through the map had caused the bar to deplete. I like that they're encouraging more axe use with the files being used in both sword and axe mode, but requiring longer to charge may inadvertently affect players overutilizing the sword mode, just to reach the amp state, which contradicts the whole file change. It's still a fun weapon to play, the combos and animations are satisfying to look at, and I can't wait to get stuck into creating builds for this weapon and sharing them with you guys. Thanks for watching, please support the channel by liking and subscribing, and I'll see you next time.